I couldn't stop watching. I had to binge the entire season.
Well, you should seek help for that. That's worrying. That's worrying.
What I like best about it is that each week, as the audience, we get a little piece of the puzzle into these characters and their situation.
Yeah.
As actors, did you get the entire season at once? Did you know what was going to happen, or did you find
Thank
out
God, no.
one script at a time, and did you have any surprises?
All the time. Surprises.
There
Yeah.
were. When I took the project on, I didn't know that Mary J. Blige and I were going to have a scene where we're stoned and dancing like crazy, lighting things on fire. That was a bit of a surprise, to be sure. I had to do some stretching and get ready.
Do some research. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I am the dancer. Yeah.
Yeah, and also at the beginning of the whole journey, I talked to Steve and a couple of the other writers about kind of the broad strokes of Klaus's journey, And so, I talked about a kind of a version of the journey that I knew was going to go on, which changed actually quite significantly by the time we got to the execution of the actual filming. So, I think it was better that we were slightly drip fed the scripts, time in advance. It wasn't as if it was like the day before. But it was nicer just kind of going with it and just what would be type feeling,
Yeah, because eventually, I think you do so much work on your characters that all Steve is doing now, and he's placing you in a certain situation now, and see how you would, fight or flight mode kind of thing in each scene. So that was there was a lot of less pressure instead of just getting the whole season and then trying to figure out your own arc as it goes along, where you're actually just giving this little piece, play that day, this little piece, play that day, and then you just hopefully see the last result, and it hopefully doesn't look bad. That's
Hopefully.
And what did you have to do for the audition? Did you audition for the roles that you were eventually cast in, or did you audition for another role first?
Oh, I auditioned for Pogo.
I was up for Luther first.
Pogo?
Yeah,
I auditioned
he does a great pogo.
for Hazel.
Fun, yeah.
And when you read in the comics, even, Gerard Way, and everybody was very aware that you couldn't really transfer exactly what Hazel and Cha-Cha are from the comics to the screen. These sort of just adorable, bubbly psychopaths. We needed more layers and all that. So when I got to the audition, they were still sort of figuring him out. And I'm reading the comic and I'm reading the audition, like I don't know how to reconcile these. So I went into the audition, did something you're not typically supposed to do. I asked the casting director, what do you want? And she
What
said,
do you want?
Exactly. And she said, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I just auditioned, and apparently Steve Blackman saw it and liked where I was going with Hazel. And I got the first 3 episodes, and when I took it, and again, there wasn't a lot to go with who he is, so I just had to fill in the blanks, and then as the show went on, I got to know him more and more. It was a little scary to not know your character in a way, but what was kind of fun about Hazel is incorporating that, making him a little vague, a little identityless. And he doesn't, all he has is work. He's never really thought about who he is.
Yeah, he doesn't really have a sense of self.
Which is scary as an actor. You want to be as specific as possible, but I think as the show goes on, Hazel, he gets a little more specific. He kind of wakes up a little bit. It was kind of rare. It was kind of fun.
I wanted to ask all of you, what did you like best about the character that you played?
I like that he was, underneath him being such a prick, he was really, really caring. Like, he has a big heart. That was a nice thing. And the fact that Steve wanted to make sure that he was vulnerable to things, instead of being this tough guy who just can go through the whole day and just be one tone. He wanted to give this guy something different compared to like other things that we've seen before. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I sort of liked the untethered, uninhibited, I suppose not permission, but when they cast me, I think they were up for the idea that I was going to sort of bring lots of kind of chaotic wildness, and they just let me run with it. They really indulged any sort of lunacy that I was willing to, or that I sort of come up with or hatch on the day. So, that was really fun. Just feeling completely unrestricted. And whenever you feel a feeling of restriction or inhibition, you just sort of transfer it into something else and go, actually, I don't need to listen to that voice because I'm playing Klaus and I can be and do anything, you know. And that was the sort of philosophy that permeated his look, his behavior, you know. But really, people who do that, there's a fragility to them, you know. And so we started off with this kind of slightly insane character who's kind of falling apart at the seams. But then you start to see, you know, the soft and gooey and traumatized center of the character, you know, as the thing goes on. So it was a lot to play around with, you know. There was many colors on Klaus's palette, thankfully.
I loved playing a lost villain. You know, most villains in pretty much anything you see know exactly who they are. They're very confident. Often it's the good guys who are finding their identity. So it was really fun to play a guy who's one of the bad guys, and maybe he doesn't even know he's one of them yet, you know. He's just a little out of his element, a little confused.
Yeah.
It's kind of unique, you know.
There's that corporate element, isn't there, to Hazel and Chacha? That, you know, there's the idea that they're company workers and they don't consider anything past, you know, the morality past that.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like Ron Livingston in Office Space.
Yeah. It's
He was an assassin.
It's the idea that even if you were a time-traveling assassin, after years, the uniqueness of that would lose its luster, and then it's just a job to you.
Yeah.
It's like
Kind of, that's the show in general. There's like superpowers, but
Yeah.
you know, I've lived with them my whole life, and you know, I've
Yeah.
made some bad choices with them.
Frankly,
Like, you know, everything's kind of bogged down in
kind of
reality.
No responsibility to
it. You know.
Yeah.
The relationship between the siblings is dysfunctional, but they still have this very close bond because of what they've been through together.
Mm-hmm.
Which of the cast members did you feel the closest bond to?
Well, his arm is around me, so.
And as the afternoon goes on, the other arm is going to creep around as well until we're like this.
And then for all of the press, I think Cameron's going to lay on top of us.
And I had other cast members that I enjoyed very much.
No, I suppose I had, you know, you could have unique little relationships with everyone. So I don't know, I find they're not necessarily rankable because they're not comparable, you know. But thankfully, you know, I was speaking just to myself. It was a very wide-ranging and varied type of relationship with lots of different people. But thankfully, it was all positive. Thank God.
Yeah.
You know,
Most of my scenes were with Mary J. Blige, so we got to know each other a lot, and you know, was a pretty fascinating human being. You could ask Mary about the first 20 years of her life or the next 20, and they're so varied and they're such unique experiences for anybody that it was hard to be bored around her. I'll say that much.
yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, I'd just like to ask, what would you like to see happen in a second season?
I think we should see Klaus finally rise to his rightful position as academy leader and become like the new Reginald Hargreaves, for example.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, if Hazel comes back, that means he didn't live happily ever after. So that's kind of a bummer for him. I'd feel pretty bad.
Yeah, and I really hope he didn't.
I want to see her face.
Yeah.
I hope I get addicted to prescription pills.
I'd like to see more animals in the show.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
weren't any,
there
were
was
there?
Pogo,
Except
but we
for
need
Pogo.
more like exotic animals.
Like an
Yeah.
eagle.
Yeah, or a giraffe.
Yeah.
A giraffe or an aardvark. It'd be great to throw in an aardvark for some reason.
Okay.
There was a taxidermied aardvark in the Umbrella Academy, actually, who I was constantly staring at.
I didn't realize they were so big, and it makes me wonder why people don't eat them more. They kind of look delicious.
How dare you, Cameron?
You know, they're eating ants, and
Yeah,
those things aren't bothering anybody.
they are. Ants are annoying and stingy. We need aardvarks to keep the ant population down.
Good point. Thank you so much for talking to me today. I think this show is going to be such a huge success.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lovely to hear. Appreciate it.
to.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you, and you're going to say which castmate is most likely to do this thing.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Most likely to stay out after curfew.
Oh,
Rob
Robert.
Sheehan, yeah.
Okay, so fast.
Oh man, you can't.
Robert.
Rob.
Everyone said you so fast.
Yeah.
I think you did it last night.
Yeah. That's standard. That's a standard day. isn't
Okay.
it?
I was going to say 5, but you know, Aidan's very well behaved. He's very professional.
Oh. I kind of feel like Ellen.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, she's sneaky, that one.
I suppose it shows a distinct lack of imagination.
Maybe Rainbow. I think Rainbow could probably
Yeah, Rainbow plays Chuck Beeman, the
check in on the
detective.
show. He'd probably be doing those things.
Help you get a fake ID.
I want to go with someone Canadian there because we shot it in Toronto. Maybe Sheila McCarthy, who
Sheila-
played Agnes. She'd
yeah.
probably be able to get you a good
Sheila,
fake
yeah.
ID.
Yeah, she'd be nice enough.
Or Rainbow also.
Yeah, Rainbow, yeah.
Rainbow's like he's the handler.
David or Rob? Rob
Yeah.
has connections.
David and
Rob is
Rob.
fake. Thanks for
Jazz hands, everyone. Jazz
Everyone's
hands.
happy to be here.
Baby step.
Back in Toronto, where
Back
you filmed.
in Toronto.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I haven't been back since we filmed.
Yeah, likewise.
So you toured all the way around, stopping here at the last place.
This is, well, it's the last for some. Cameron, you're heading off to South Africa, right?
Oh my.
Am I?
Yes, you are, mate.
I
You
am.
never got the memo.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
exciting.
You're going tomorrow morning, first
Oh
thing.
Yeah.
my goodness, this
Actually-
is exciting.
You're going there for 3
You
days.
should go now. Just leave.
Well,
See you
please,
around.
wait, well, give me like 5 minutes. Then you can go to South Africa.
Okay, I'll give you 5.
I think Ellen's going to Australia early next week as well.
Well, you guys are going all over. It's because, like, are you going where you're adopted from in the show, probably? Your character?
That would have been a good idea.
I've got good
You
ideas.
should work for Netflix. Marketing.
Tell him.
I'll tell
Was
them.
Klaus adopted from Germany, I'm guessing?
I assume so, yeah.
Yeah.
Germany or Klaus. Yeah, Germany. Let's go with Germany.
Yeah.
Maybe Austria.
Yeah, Austria.
Those are good ones. All right, so this is an action show, obviously. Speaking of the action, did you guys do a lot of your own stunts? Do anything dangerous?
I did.
This fella
Did a
was
lot of
used.
very dangerous stuff.
I know you carried
dangerous,
knives
yeah.
around.
They were
The
real.
ones.
They were real pieces of metal.
He kept stealing cutlery at lunch, you know. He'd go in and steal
Also
loads
real
of,
ones?
loads of butter knives and any knives that were hanging around. He'd start nicking them.
I tell everyone to come over. I cook them dinner and stuff because I was a real, cutting board professional.
Yeah, I didn't have to do any sort of physical activities. It was great. It was fantastic.
I mean,
the less I did, the better.
I noticed Klaus's go-to is to just jump on people's backs.
Yeah.
And just hang on tight.
Yeah. It's very disorienting.
Hope for the best at that point.
Yeah, it seemed like there was a lot of fetal positions with Klaus in the show.
It's lovely being in the fetal position, isn't it? Just generally speaking. It's nice, you know.
Easy day on set.
Reminds you of when you were in the womb.
All right, so I do have a very specific question for Cameron. What is it like to fight Mary J. Blige?
It's pretty fun. I had to start taking it seriously because,
Could you take her?
month 1, she's like, Cameron, I've been training every day since 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, and then
She looked
month
badass
2,
in
she's
the
like
show.
showing me videos of her doing these kicks. Okay, I might need to start, stretching, maybe learning a punch or two. But when it came to episode 9, that was about as much fun as I had for the entire course of the show. Once Hazel and Cha-Cha, we have all of this build up, to that moment, and it felt like a payoff. We were swinging for the fences. Yeah, and the stuntman jumped and did a great job. Whenever there was a backflip involved or anything, we'd step them in, of course.
What? You can't do backflip?
You got to pay me more. But
Be modest. He's been very modest.
Yeah.
He just doesn't want to show me his backflip.
Yeah. Come on, Cameron.
no, I can't show you my secret
the world.
tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do a head over heels for you.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a Valentine's Day card.
Head over heels.
Oh, like a cartwheel? Okay.
No, just
You'll just fall?
yeah, in a tumble.
Okay. So that's the physical stuff, but on the emotional side, I feel like Klaus and Diego kind of have the worst of all the kids throughout the show.
Yes.
You guys, is there an emotional
Finally.
toll playing these guys? It seemed kind of
Yeah.
exhausting. Give me some, yeah. Recognize that you guys were emotionally exhausted.
Yes, we were emotionally exhausted, I think. Yeah, definitely at times. I mean, it sort of peaks, You have to kind of build up to these things. I think the sort of the hallmark of a terrible performance is when someone is really emotional all the time. So you kind of have to kind of build the journey up to these very traumatic moments, you know, and certainly when we had to deliver on those moments, well, speaking from my own experience, crikey, they were exhausting, you know, and a lot of mine were like in public as well, which
Big
was
scenes.
annoying. Yeah, there's all these like random people just wandering by, going, "Oh, you're filming something," you know, you're there trying to bare your soul on the side of the street. So that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to find like this. You have to find the peaks and the valley, you know, and the valleys, because I think it's like if you're just watching action the whole time, it doesn't really mean anything. It just kind of numbs you through watching the experience. But if you got to make those things count at the end of the day.
So this is like a comedy and an action, but a lot of the scenes, like, they're funny, but you can't act like they're funny. Is that hard to find the balance scene by scene?
Yeah.
It was hard.
One of our first scenes, Mary and I, is strapping jumper cables to a guy's nipples, and you gotta let the circumstance be funny and just trust
Try
that
to
that's
play it, yeah.
because
Just let the nipples do their work.
let the nipples do the talking.
Yeah. And this particular actor had talking nipples, so it worked out quite well.
Yeah, good call, Cameron.
Money walks, nipples talk.
Yeah, it was actually ultimately they had to fire his nipples, but they kept him on because
CG nipples?
his nipples were very unprofessional.
Yeah,
They kept
making
upstaging.
rude comments.
they're suing the show now.
Yeah, there's a whole court, there's a whole legal.
They'd say, "Are you going to say that line like that?"
Yeah,
You know,
it's
so
like,
we had to.
shut up!
Twin nipples to Umbrella Academy.
You're always demeaning me. Yeah, they were very unprofessional.
If you guys could have one of the powers from the Umbrella Academy kids, what power would you want?
Talking. Oh no, sorry.
No, not talking.
One of the powers.
Time travel, I'd
Umbrella
say.
Academy.
You want to time travel?
Yeah.
You haven't learned a lesson from this show? That's not a good idea.
You know what? I did better than 5. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I'd probably go time travel because, you know, sometimes I get the feeling like I'm from the olden days, do you know what I mean? So I'd like to go back and put that to the test. Hello! Excuse me, sir, do you have a bubble pipe? That's what people did back in the day, wasn't it? Smoke bubble pipes and stuff?
Yeah, opium.
Opium, that's it, sorry, not bubbles.
Yeah, bubbles.
Heroin.
Heroin.
What power would you want?
All I can think about right now is talking
Just
nipples and
talking-
heroin. Being super buff never hurts. You know? That's pretty fun.
What would you take the big gorilla body?
I wouldn't, especially from the back. His back is so enormous.
Yeah.
I already feel, huge people, you know, we have a phobia of being in the way in crowded rooms.
You know, it'd be oh, you're so sweet. You know, it'd be good. It would be if Klaus got to jump on Luther's back in the second season. I'd like that.
That's your dream?
Yeah. Because he got to jump on a couple of backs in the first season. You know?
Yeah.
It's becoming like my signature move.
So what do you think people should be most excited for with the show? Why should they watch it?
Probably, I would say Diego's tight pants and very macho
Yeah.
knife straps.
Sick.
It's very S&M.
Yeah, you should watch him, flirt with girls. That's the, I think that's the seller, to be honest with you. That's the time to watch it.
He doesn't even have to do
I
anything.
don't have to do anything. But
I don't know, but for actual answer.
Yeah, we're trying to sell something. Like talking about my leather pants.
I think that the show is unique, and it gives a unique look at something we feel like we've seen. I don't know if we've seen enough superheroes, but we've certainly seen a lot of them, and starting to feel like, we've pretty much sussed out every corner of it. And Gerard Way and then Steve Blackman carried the baton from there. Just found a new way to look at this. We were just talking about how it's sort of like seeing superheroes on their off day. What it's like to just kind of be a human with powers. Sometimes you use them for good, sometimes not so good. It's definitely kind of a more human and unique look at what it'd be like to have superpowers.
It's too bad you guys aren't very cheerful.
I know. We're a real downbeat.
It's a hard job.
Yeah, tough job,
Sitting
right?
in a room and
starring in
talking
an
to folk
excellent
all day.
series. Honest to God, it's so good.
Oh, thank you.
I have sort of a funny relationship with sci-fi. Sometimes it's too complicated for me, and there's too much of a mythology that you need to know and learn. But this, it's
Yeah.
great. It's
Oh,
easy.
isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
fun. But it's there, and you do have to work at it.
Well, if you could just say all that to the camera, we'd be. I think that's the job done, really.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah, that's a job, but it seems to me there was quite a bit of secrecy around the shooting of it, for good reason. I can certainly understand why. You know, it's just being at the Massey Mansion and everything. But were you aware of it being sort of under cloak of night kind of thing?
Well, I suppose on a practical day-to-day, they're like, if you're going out anywhere public, put on your big coat to
Yeah.
conceal your costume, you know, because you might get harangued by someone in the street asking for a photograph, and then suddenly your Klaus look
Right.
might be on Instagram or
It's
something.
out.
So they just were trying to, you know, safeguard against that type of stuff. But apart from that, it was pretty mellow, you know.
Yeah, I think most of us
Yeah.
have a bunch of, you know, a whole slew of pictures on our phones we can't wait to be able to release.
Share
We've just been hanging on to.
So you can't really talk about it, I mean,
No.
until now.
Yeah.
These pictures, they're going to shake up the internet, I'm telling you.
Oh, I cannot wait for
Cameron
that.
Britton, whipped cream, yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of learning.
Naps.
Yeah, and mouse traps.
And underwear up in Muskoka, running around the woods.
Lots of
Yeah.
naps.
It's all going to be
In our
good.
underpants.
Very illuminating.
It was beautiful. It was like watching a herd of stampeding wildebeests in the African savannah. Just just seeing Cameron just jogging in slow motion over a meadow, over a ravine.
Okay,
Good
Cameron,
morning.
your character, you're hooked up with Mary J. Blige, the cop, and she's quite the alpha female,
She
right?
is an alpha female.
Yeah.
So you've got to stand up to her. So how do you do it?
Well, what's fun about the character is you know, while Cha Cha is bringing her A game every time, all the time, Hazel's just dragging his feet. So I could just sort of mope around and complain with each scene. You know, what's my motivation? Nothing. I don't want to be here. You know, now we got to kill people today. Fine, if you insist. You
Because
know?
that's us, right?
Exactly.
That's the real
That
us.
was sort of the comedy of it. You know, you couldn't play the comedy. You had to let the situation be funny. That someone would
Yeah.
be traveling through time, assassinating people, and bored at the same time, and totally disenfranchised with his own.
And he's got carpal tunnel from shooting a gun too much.
carrying heavy suitcases and stuff. That was a fun element to the character that one of the writers thought, "Oh, you should have carpal tunnel." He said he got it from writing on a whiteboard so much that he got that was his inspiration.
The police whiteboard.
And I kept the brace. I keep it on my
Excellent.
bookshelf.
That's one of my
Wow.
That's one of the
Did,
funniest
what
moments.
did you guys keep?
When you see
Anything?
it, like, yeah.
I kept a piece of jewellery, which I don't want to say what it is, because that might give something away.
Oh. And what did you keep?
Oh man, the only thing I brought back was just my pants. They're really tight now.
Underpants or pants?
Look at these bad boys. Huh? Can barely breathe in them.
I stole a few pairs
Memories.
of socks from costume.
Were they good socks?
Yeah.
Yeah, there
Much
you
better
go.
than my own. I'm like, I'm having them.
Yeah.
They're movie socks.
Especially like in the last, you're coming up to the last couple of weeks of filming, you're like, socks, yes.
Yeah.
Underpants, they're not going to ask for these back.
Yeah.
Not in the last stretch.
No.
So tell me,
Especially
did they
when
give you
wash 'em.
special underwear so you can get into the character?
Well, you know, for when we first meet Klaus, he's wearing these ridiculous leather pants
Yeah.
that have a sort of a kind of a lacing all the way up the
Right.
side, which goes, you know, right up to the naked side of my bum bum. So we had to have underpants that weren't like, you know, sort
Oh,
of
visible
very
there,
obviously
right.
seen.
So
you know.
thongs.
So I was wearing, basically flesh-coloured sort of budgie smugglers. That's what.
What did you
Klaus-
say?
Budgie smugglers. You know what I mean?
We smuggle the budgie.
North Americans are so boring. I wish we had fun words like budgie smugglers.
You can take that, North America. Run with it.
Let's steal a little
God,
from
that is great.
cultures who have had more
All right.
time to come up with creative
So you guys are a lot of fun. Calm as the monocle, not so much fun.
Yeah. He's a very serious guy.
Did he stay in character on the set?
No, he just certainly did not.
Good.
No.
He was a
Good.
prick.
He's no, he was just. Oh,
Yeah,
Colin
just
is
sweetheart.
just. He's just an anecdote machine, man.
know, right.
I love Colin so much. I went out and stayed in his house for a couple
Oh,
of
it's
nights.
Stratford.
Yeah,
Good
yeah,
for
yeah.
you.
And went and saw 2 of his wife's musicals, Donna, which were amazing. In fairness, like, I mean, I've been seeing I've been seeing, so I'm not a huge musical person. I've seen a few as of late in London, I was telling you about. But Donna's were way better in Stratford. Seriously, way higher quality, honestly. And I live in
Hey,
London.
Go Donna.
Yeah.
Yeah, you live in London, so that's high praise indeed.
Indeed, yeah.
Yes, and so tell me about working in this house, in the Massey mansion, because on film, wow, it's stunning.
It's
I've never seen
insane
anything
that
like it.
You're in this mansion and you could spend 15 minutes walking around it, examining everything, and then you step outside and you remember you're not in a real mansion, in that it is, what's it, 1/20th the size of the building it's actually in. This warehouse is enormous. We have everybody's apartment fits in this warehouse, and he said you go
Whole
back
academy.
to. But I don't know how they whipped that up that quickly. I mean, the staircase itself, I've done so much rickety theater and 50-seat theater, and we're walking on the staircase, oh, don't step on that side. It was wild.
Smash the set.
It's the environment that they've created that suits us so well as viewers, that adds to your, I'm sure it adds to your creativity or sense about who your character is.
And the house was, the academy was always supposed to feel like warm and inviting, but chilly in terms of Reginald Hargreaves. But the house itself was supposed to have this kind of lovely familial warmth to it, to kind of contrast
Yeah.
the sort of the chilliness of their childhood, their upbringing.
The show, any one of the characters could have their own series. There's just so, you could just
Oh, there you
describe
go.
one character and go, oh wow, I'd watch that, and that's why I think a lot of the show is structured to be multiple stories that are loosely connected, which was kind of scary in a way, because you don't know what's going on the other stories until it
Right,
all
and keep the
comes
unity.
together.
Yeah.
But somehow, and don't ask me how, Steve Blackman was able to see all the method to the madness and put it together, and you watch it and it's just kind of like rolling off a log. It looks like real natural, but we'd shoot that big fight scene in the house. That took like 3 months to shoot. You'd shoot a part and go away for a bunch of weeks and then shoot the rest, but then when you watch it,
Makes sense.
Kind of comes together.
And yay, dance sequences. Thank you so much, fellas.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, my dear.